most likely what triggers this is a lack of earnings growth, which can be seen in the next slide. If you go to the next. Yeah. So this is a picture of earnings growth for corporate India. This is for Sensex 30. And the portion that I've sort of highlighted is what was expected to be the earning trajectory at the start of the year and how it sort of progresses as you go through the year. So if you just look at the FY27 number or FY26 for that matter, we started with high hopes. And, if you were to just remember, there was this tax cut, personal tax cut at the start of the last year's budget, not this year. And that was expected to revive some sort of consumption. And through the year, you had a GST cut, which was again, a step further to that. But what spoiled this whole thing was the West Asia crisis that you had and some of the tariff impact that India had to face. Now, a lot of that tariff is, done with. Looks like we have a stable regime in sort of the tariffs, but the West Asia crisis continues to impact. And as the settlement was spoken about Chirag today, possibly we see a silver lining there as well. So the key reason for that, returns as such not being great is the earnings, coupled with a reasonably high valuation to begin with. Now, this, if you were to move to the next slide, when if you were to think about the foreign investor who is talked about much, there is record selling that is happening, and by the way, this is happening for past few years. This year it just got heightened, and for a allocator at a institutional level, if for him a decision which country to invest is driven by what he sees in terms of earnings. And if you were to just look at the India earnings, we saw the expectation came off. But on the opposite side, if you look at countries like Korea and Taiwan, the EPS has dramatically got revised up. So what you are thinking should be 10 in terms of EPS growth at the start of the year is now 40-50%. Now, that is a massive reset in expectation, which is sort of driven, to the performance that you see in some of those indices. But the point to note is, some of these economies are driven by, very few themes. At the current juncture, it is the AI theme, which has driven. For Taiwan, it could be the chips that it manufactures. There is a lot of demand and the pricing has just moved up.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.